So this panel will focus on what's the online marketplace changed. And before we move into the topic, I will also briefly introduce my 4 speakers. But as Georgina said, so you have a great bio. So let's be very brief. So let's start first with the ladies. So first I have Magda. Magda, if you may raise your arm. So Magda, she's a gallerist. She opened her first gallery in Paris in 1991. So you had 17 years old. So really early woman in the market. So that's wonderful. You opened a second gallery in Shanghai in 2009, a third one in London in 2012, so you could have sit also on the first panel, basically. So we're starting from France to develop your business. She curated many different exhibitions, I will not develop. She also wrote a book, and also you work at Arthur Andersen, so we have something in common, so that's interesting. Elsa, so my second lady on the panel, she's commissaire-priseur, an expert in art and antiques. She's leading the business development for arts on Catawiki. And prior to this position, Elsa has been commissaire-priseur in a traditional auction house, SGL Enchères. And for 7 years, you did that. And she has been also TV presenter for the famous French TV show, Un trésor dans votre maison on MI6, no, on M6. M6. Okay. Scott from Boston, indeed. So Scott is from Invaluable. He developed a unique expertise in auction technology and marketplace business development. He has held senior business and corporate development position with global auction houses and was SVP of sales at Live Auctioneers, where he spent 10 years. Scott is now Invaluable's EVP of strategic accounts, responsible for driving growth opportunities through global strategic partnerships. And you organize now, you had last year the first auction conference, and you will have a second one in London this year. No, next year, correct? February, correct. So you are all invited to London soon. François-Xavier, so Trancard, so you work formerly at Bacardi Martini. Why did you change? So it was a nice environment. So and now, so you founded with Hugo Mullier, so Artsper, and that was in 2013. And so you are basically with Artsper since the inception. Correct. So in order to do this panel in like 50 minutes, so it was a kind of a struggle. So we decided to divide the panel in 3. But before I explain how we organize that, so just a few words about the online marketplace. You probably have all known about the Hitchcock's online art market report produced by Hitchcock and Anders. So just a few numbers. So I think it's a great report about tracking the development of the online art market. So online art market is growing and account right now for 4.2 billion. Now, if you look at the Art Basel art market report, so it's a bit more. So again, it's a question of numbers, but let's not go into that. The market is growing by around 12% and account for around 8% market share of the total art and antiques market. 40 to 45% of online shoppers are new customers. Growth is declining, so questions about have we reached a glass ceiling, and we will talk about that. When you will look at their numbers, it's fantastic, so I don't think we have reached a glass ceiling. We have seen also a certain numbers of termination of certain initiatives, so they're struggling to generate certain revenues, despite in some cases some adequate financing. So we all heard about Auctionata and the collaboration with Paddle8. Now regarding Paddle8 on Friday, so they announced that they are close to finalize their turnaround, so it seems that they can move again upwards and making profits. Now let's move into the panel, and in order to organize the panel, I suggested that we divide it in 3 parts. First, to present the 3 companies, move into the benefits and the issues they had, and finally to look a little bit at the future. So to understand what they do, so I've asked the 3 companies, Invaluable, Catawiki, and Artsper, to present 2 slides. So I asked them not to do the sales speech. It's just to present their business model and some numbers and some growth rates of their activities. And we start with Artsper. So Jean-François, so you can...
François-Xavier.
François-Xavier, sorry. So I had the same thing last week with Reine-Marie. Reine-Marie, where are you? So sorry again with names, I have issues. So this is the remote. Okay, let's... Okay.
Okay, I co-founded Artspur in 2013 with one very simple idea to make art accessible to everyone and facilitates the buying of an artwork by using the internet. At that time, I was 23 years old. I was probably a little naive because everyone told us that we had no chance in succeeding on that mission because it's impossible to buy an artwork without seeing it before, or galleries won't want to show their prices online. But with my partner Hugo Mullier, we deeply, strongly believe in this project, and we really think that there was a market for that. And we carry on, and 5 years later, Artspur is one of the most important marketplace in selling contemporary artworks. Today we provide 80,000 artworks, paintings, photographies, drawings, sculptures, prints from over 1,600 galleries. It's increasing every year, every month. We have new galleries from the whole world. We have galleries in Mexico, we have galleries in Brazil, we have galleries in Australia, we have galleries everywhere, and we are selling artworks every month to art collectors, a new kind of art collectors, from 100 euros to 100,000 euros, with an average cart of 2,000 euros. I have a second slide, maybe to dwell on more on the our business model. As a marketplace, I think we all have the same business model, commission-based. It's a very simple model because we just ask the gallery to list their artwork online, and our job at Artspur is to attract the most qualified people, the most qualified buyers online to sell their artists, to sell their artworks. And if we do a good job, we just take a commission on the sales. The success of Artspur, I think, is mainly due to the fact that we are working exclusively with galleries. It has been our choice from the beginning because galleries are trusted, they are experts, they represent many artists, and they are doing a great job in the real life. And we just wanted to provide them a greater visibility and a new sales channel to expand their sales and their artists and their artworks. That's it.
Thank you very much, François-Xavier. And now, Elsa?
Okay, so
on Catawiki.
Catawiki.
Just flip slides.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay, Catawiki's head of office is based in Amsterdam, but we operate all over Europe. It's a marketplace for buying and selling art, unique items, and collectibles. We have a very specific positioning because we are filling a gap between eBay and traditional auction house or only galleries online. So we have a unique proposition value. We use auction as a playful mechanism for buyers because, as Pontus said, it's an excitement. Sorry for my English, and it's also a strong way to reach the higher price for sellers. So we organize both regular, exclusive, and themed auction. To be very specific, we have 80 different categories, from classic cars to street art. So it's really huge. And we auction specialized and unique items, and it's always curated by experts who are hired by Catawiki. So Catawiki's business model is commission-based from both seller and buyer's side, professionals and individuals regardless. It's 9% sellers, it's 15% sellers, but only if the lot is sold. The submission is unlimited and the subscription is free from charge. So Catawiki growth is really something. We have the slide here. I have to go back to 2008 because it was a comic book collector who, with a tech developer, launched an online catalog that comic books, stamps, and coins collectors used to keep track of their inventories. And this explains the name of Catawiki because lots of people are asking us that. Cata, it's for catalog, and wiki, it's for online.
It's not catastrophe.
No, thank you for adding this. It's really positive. Well, this explains the weird name of Catawiki. The crowdsourced catalog grew so fast that it was a lawyer community, but the pair tried to find a way to monetize the model. This is how in late 2011, Catawiki started to host successfully the first weekly auctions online. And the auction model gained traction, and the company quickly expanded it from collectibles to arts and antiques and mobility and luxury goods. And from 2014, Catawiki growth skyrocketed to such level that 2 rounds of investment brought like $85 million into the company. And it gives the firepower to expand in new products category, pursue new markets, and boost this marketing's efforts. In 2015, Catawiki was the company to top the Deloitte Technology Fast 500, fastest growing tech company in Europe with a growth percentage of 45,000%, which is huge. And today, Catawiki is thriving an online market and one of the fastest growing company in Europe. The company launched with 2 people in 2008, reached 20 in 2013, and we are now close to 500 employees. We grow from 1 category to 80 categories. We are welcoming 40 million visitors by month. We are available in 17 different languages. And we are auctioning 50,000 unique lots in one of our 300 weekly auctions. And each lot are curated by our experts.
Thank you very much, Elsa. So let's move quickly to Invaluable and Scott.
Great. Just want to say thank you for the invitation, our market day, to be here, Adriano, for taking lead in this panel. So Invaluable is a true marketplace in the sense that we focus daily on supply demand, and that's how we define our business. And through technology, we are completing transactions and taking an incremental commission based on what sells through our marketplace. Every day we think about supply and demand, and the supply side of our marketplace is auction houses. We work with over 5,000 auction houses globally who provide us with their auction content. And once posted to our marketplace, we align that supply with our demand or our collectors, bidders, and buyers. And through tools and through technology, we surface that content and we allow those collectors to bid real-time live at the auction as if they were sat there in the front row. You can go to the next slide if you want. So some of the core metrics, supply, demand, that are important to us as a business and how we manage the business, how we evaluate the performance of the business are some of these up here on this slide. So global auction houses, how many are we working with? What's the volume of auctions coming onto the marketplace? As well as how is that value of that supply growing or decreasing either in a regional or a global perspective? From the demand side, again, similar insights that we have into our collector database, which is how many are coming monthly, how many are converting from bidding to buying, and how much are they actually participating within the marketplace, driving up, ultimately, incremental value for our auction house partners.
Thank you, Scott. So now questions to my partner here, to Magda. So you are going to be a bit my devil advocates now because you are on the other side. So first of all, maybe one word about the gallery. For the audience, even if everybody knows you.
You wonderfully introduced the gallery, but maybe the reason why I agreed to speak here, and thank you for the invitation. For a very early stage on, maybe because I was like a millennial when I started, this question of how are we going to sell our artworks in the next century, back then it was the next century, was key. I mean, we're in a model that we all love, probably have some fellows here, but we know it's a 19th century model, early 20th century model. What is going on now? How are we going to integrate, digest? And I agree with Bernardine earlier on saying that we have all this technology, we have bitcoins coming in here, but how are we going to use them if we have a few drinks? And we do have some in the art world. So it's the whole question, how are we going? And it's going slower than what I thought back then. I thought in 91, I had already a website, that it would be tomorrow, that we would shop online. We're still very early on. I'm testing all of you guys. Like many of my colleagues, we're okay with most of the platforms that are developed, but we haven't found yet the solution.
We will come to that in a minute. But
and
what,
so I'm
what-
the tester here. If I may introduce myself as the tester, that would be my role today.
And among your colleagues, if I may say so, how do you see this? How do they look at online business? So, what is their perception about it?
Long time ago, an antique dealer told me, from another generation, told me, "Oh, that doesn't change anything. We buy and sell with faxes," which is true. I mean, you couldn't see anything on the fax, and the image was like, if blurry, black and white, and that's it. So it's not changing so much our business, but what we see is that it can go faster. We can reach new audiences, which is really important. I mean, if we see how many people are interested by contemporary art and how many, in the end, come up into our spaces, is that there's a big discrepancy. And also, the fact that it's 24/7 kind of helps a lot. We like that.
So I think that's a good start to move into the second part of the panel. So I would like to ask François-Xavier, Elsa, and Scott about what were the highest. So if you can very briefly tell us what were the highest positive impact that you have generated for 3 categories of stakeholders. So gallerists, auction houses, and if it's applied to artists. So maybe we start with yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I totally agree with Magda, and I will say for galleries, we enable them to sell their artists, their artwork to a new kind of collectors who are not sufficiently addressed by the traditional market. People who are not entering the galleries, people who are maybe intimidated by the galleries or the fair and won't ask questions directly, but behind the screen it's easier. So I think it's a new sales channel for the galleries, but yeah, it will take time because we have to educate also these people. They just they are not going just online and say, okay, I like art, I will buy art. We have to try to educate and give more codes to them to make them buy.
I think I could go further then because I agree with you, François-Xavier. We drain an audience that I've never seen in any auction houses or any gallery or any fairs. The convenience of the online is something, but I think it's also avoid cultural boundaries or obstacles. Lots of people don't feel legitimate to go on fairs or galleries, or they don't even know how to bid in an auction house. So behind computer, everything is easier. I would say that Catawiki has this thing with the multi-category positioning that drain another audience. It's one go for buying a bottle of wine, and then he go to jewelry, and then he buy a piece of artwork, which was not the first step for him. But yes, we are educating this new audience. I would say for the seller point of view, we are offering galleries a very easy way to sell. We're offering a very huge and international audience with the 17 languages and the marketing, which is really firepower in Catawiki. So it's really easy and it's really nice to work with them, of course. We also have private sellers, but it's still accidental. And the amazing thing, I think, and you must have the same on Artsper, it's the emerging artists that are coming a lot on the platform. And I think we are kind of an incubator of emerging artists. And some galleries are testing them. It's the first step because representing an artist, an emerging artist, most of all, it's really costing a lot of money. So they are testing. And they are, trying to test, yes, these artists, and then they are going to the artists and said, okay, do you want us to represent? And we have lots of artists here on Catawiki. We were born on Catawiki, and we are now represented in galleries.
I think that the artist point is a very interesting one, and we will come back to that with Magda, but maybe Scott before?
Sure, I'd say so. The value proposition of Invaluable has remained pretty much the same over the years for our auction house partners. It is how can we deliver net new bidders and buyers that are going to competitively bid at your auction, drive up average hammer prices, make your consigners happy, and ultimately achieve the best possible prices for that inventory, give you global brand, global exposure through our marketplace. And today, that remains the value proposition of our conversations with auction houses. From a collector standpoint, as supply has grown. And in a marketplace, supply drives demand. And as our supply has grown over the years, we've cultivated a global database of collectors, bidders, buyers, whether they're professional buyers or they are individuals who are looking to decorate their home. But the value that we've added for that group is a centralized place that now that we have 5,000 plus auction houses globally, from one solution, from one location, those bidders and buyers can be surfaced, the things that they're passionate and they love. And through our marketplace, we give them that ability to surface those items and quickly move through that registration process in an effort to buy those things that they're passionate about. Recently, our model has added a fixed price type of offering where we're working with galleries and dealers. And with that, we've seen an opportunity to not only align a retail fixed price environment for our collector base, but also provide technology back to galleries and dealers who want to push their brand first, who want to have a Shopify type of experience on their domain, on their website, so they can drive users to their website and use that technology to convert. So through technology and then tying into a reseller or tying into a marketplace, we've given them the ability to, with minimal investment, have that e-commerce solution and tie it into a marketplace for promotion.
Thank you, Scott. Coming back to artists and to you, Magda. So you are currently using 2 marketplaces, if I'm correct?
Mainly, yeah. There are some others that we're testing, but like on a daily basis, 2 are used at the gallery. Yeah.
Yeah, and so when we talk, so you had some interesting conclusions about reactions of artists and marketplaces. Can you maybe share?
I like what you said about the emerging artists that we could maybe promote through the platforms. Though I'm asking myself, are we putting them, and it's true, we're putting more emerging artists. One, because it's a way to promote them and it's less expensive, or because also the average pinpoint price now is quite low. And also more famous artists, more recognized artists do not want to be with prices shown on the platform. And we've talked with Artsper before about this, because a lot of our artists said, no, we don't want to be there. We don't want, it's not so much about talking about money. That's probably only French. Maybe in the US, the artists are a little more relaxed. That's what I tend to see. But it's also like putting value over content, value over art. And the artists, they want us to be their purveyor of content. What is our job? Of course, we're here to sell. We're art dealers, but we're galleries. We're not just pure dealers. And the artists, they trust us to find the good channels to show their art, to promote them. And we're supposed to find the good channels that will kind of value their works. If we put them on Le Bon Coin, I don't know how we would translate that to English, or on Amazon, they would, it's a very good corner. I mean, they have a lot of categories, they have a lot of languages, they have good numbers, that's for sure. I'm pretty sure we would even sell. Or on Amazon, but here the trust we have with the artist would be broken. And that's our role, to find like the whys and the hows to promote them correctly. And that's where it's hard these days, because they don't want us to show, like, to put a tag price on their work first. Though I'm always reminding them that legally we're supposed to openly communicate our prices. I mean, that's the law in France at least. But they don't want the tag price first. And also, like, what are the collectors expecting? Can they reduce an artwork to its price? If they don't know the artist, which is the case for an emerging artist, what should we give on websites, on platforms where everything goes so fast? I mean, we don't have the same time as the ideal situation where we're sitting in a gallery and we can talk. So a lot of questions remain to be answered.
So in one of your first answers for the first part of the panel, so you said that you didn't find yet the perfect platform. Why that? What should be the services that this platform should offer?
It's not so much only about services. It's about a market being mature enough, how our collectors, what are they expecting also, how we are going to meet and create real interaction above just communicating some prices. I have the example on Artsy, which is the second platform we use, quite successful, where when people inquire, if they do not change the standard question, it's basically, what is the price for this artwork? So every morning when we wake up, because the US people are using a lot Artsy, so here when we wake up we have tons of requests, and like everything is down to how much for this artwork, how much for this artwork. And it's like, okay, how do we create some dialogue here? And honestly, there's maybe 1 out of 100 emails that really lead to a dialogue. Not even a sale, but that leads to something more interesting. So you're like, why am I even sending those prices? So what is missing is the human factor. Like how we could add something where we do our job, what we are here for, promote, support, and how the collector gets what he's in here for, also his passion. He's not buying groceries. It's not like Amazon, I had to buy, I don't know, books for my kid for school and the list is standard. It's really, we want to have a little more of something, a little supplément d'âme, I would say in French.
And let's come back to my next question, and thank you for that. So art, is it becoming, thanks to online marketplaces, a kind of a classic consumer goods? So who wants to kind of start with this question? It's more a philosophical question. Of course, we can talk entire day about that. So
I would say even theological question.
A theological question, so fine. So have you a view on that?
Well, I think the
Because today, so you can buy, you can bring back. So if so, you have the protections of consumer. If you deal with professionals, so 15 days after you can bring back the goods. So you buy, you say you are talking about prices. So I test it, I bring it back if I don't like it. Is it more or less the same or not?
Well, I think the thing is that contemporary art, most of all, and street art are becoming like mass market. And it's for everyone. It's for everyone. So we are talking freedom or power, because if you just keep the art to the elite like a soft power, it's really hard to talk about art like a good, a classical good. But obviously, it's a good for mass market. I mean, and it's not something wrong. I think it's freedom. It's okay.
Yeah, I would just add that the way that I see the art market is you have that the investment grade top of the iceberg that we all hear and know and talk about, and we are all drawn towards that bright shiny object. But the reality is that there's a massive market that's sitting beneath the surface. And what we've found at Invaluable within our marketplace is that we're seeing more individuals coming and saying, I like that sideboard, I want the rug that goes there, and the painting, and the other items so I can decorate and put together the vignette of my dining room. And our marketing team works very hard to, again, drive value. So where we win and where we're successful is when an auction house says, wow, not only did Invaluable win at this auction, did they bring buyers, but they drove up incremental prices by 15 to 25%. And where we see that coming from is from those individual collectors, those who are shoppers, online consumers. And through our multi-pronged sort of marketing approach through SEO, email, and some of the other channels that we invest in, we're surfacing individual shoppers. So people who are using our site today, using auction by way to collect things and buy things that they have a purpose for, rather than as a professional buyer.
Magda, you want to know? You don't want to comment?
Now, it's interesting that we're talking about shoppers, whereas in the traditional artwork, we talk about collectors, which is interesting. You were mentioning we're talking about product, we're talking about art. And of course, yes, art should be for everyone. I'm the first one to agree on this one. Though the reality of the mass market for art is not yet there. And I wish really everyone could buy and want to buy, afford art. But the reality then we see that we go very quickly to limited edition or unlimited edition works or reproduction, not even with the right, it just happened in China, things done by Murakami and Kusama that were not even agreed by them. So that's the whole problem. And it's a thing we've discussed with you when we were preparing is what trust, what guarantee do we offer? Though the galleries are you have to push the door, and it's not easy, that's true. There are a lot of people don't know even the way, and they don't dare to get in. There is, even legally, a certain guarantee. today, what guarantee the platforms offer when you have private brokers who are not even legally totally set up as companies and do business online on different platforms, and what guarantee do we offer in terms of description of the artwork? And we've had that in the past together. Some private brokers buying artworks from galleries, reselling them on the platforms, and changing the artwork, saying it's a unique piece, whereas it was a limited edition. I'm like, oh my God. And selling it for 5 price a time. I'm like, oh, who is the police in this case? There's not, basically. And the platform is not really responsible for it. That's true. I mean, they're offering a channel. So where do we stand on this? Guarantees in terms like when there are stolen artworks. Or, especially for me, I work in street art, so we have very often artworks that are gathered on the streets and resold. It's not the same thing. We're not supposed to resell them. And so either the artist hires a lawyer and does his own police, or where do we stand? And there's plenty of little questions like this that bring us back to trust and professionalism in all this.
And that's going to be for the third part, so we will come back to that. And before we move into the third section of the panel, so we'd like to have a question on who are those online shoppers? So this Generation Z. So maybe you want to cover that?
I would love to have a very precise answer, but I have to say that everyone buys on Artspur on the other platform, because
it's really across the ages.
Yes.
Yeah, it's no differences.
Mostly people living in the cities, when we look at the data and the analytics, but there is no one
category in particular.
Yes.
So it's not specifically the young people that are buying.
No.
Okay.
We have a very fun situation where very old people call us by the phone and say, I want to buy this artwork, this is my credit card number, how can I do? And we have to explain how to buy on internet to some people. So we are targeting everyone who are interested in
no
buying
specific
art.
trends.
Yeah.
So.
And just to answer to Magda regarding our mission and how do we promote the job of the gallery, one of our mission is to educate new art lovers, new art collectors, and we are very happy when one collector starts buying on Artspur, maybe a print, maybe a very low-budget paintings, and then he told us that he's going to Art Paris Art Fair or Paris Photo and going to the gallery. I think we are the first step of the market to initiate and educate this new kind of art lovers. I don't like the word collectors for someone who just buy one print or one painting. So
I put them all as collectors. We're all collectors at heart. But it's true. It's very true. There's a lot of people who praise what you guys, and you all do it, send also in private emails, like how to buy, how to do this, how to be careful. So the effort is done. That's very precious, yes, I think.
I'd say I would just add to that, one of the challenges that we see is directly to the point that we're discussing now, which is the education. And I sort of bang my head against the wall sometimes when I think about the process that one of our users has to go through, a new user who we surface to the site, who might be interested in buying an item. They have to register, then they have to wait to get approved. And then once they're approved, if they decide they want to leave an absentee bid or wait till auction day to bid live, then once they do that, they have to go through a whole nother process. There's not a shopping cart. There's not an automated shipping service. And those are some of the challenges that we're looking at as a business to say, well, how do we create a frictionless process for those auction buyers? Because it's so different than point, click, put in your shopping cart, check out. It's going to show up in a week or so. So it's that fractured process that is a challenge for us, and that education is something that we invest a ton of energy and time in through content and thought leadership. But it's something that I think we see as opportunity as we expand how people buy online.
Thank you, Scott. We move into the future now. That's the third part of the panel. So beside this education point, so for both of you, so what are the other challenges or things that you have to consider to support the growth of your business? Is it just adding new categories? Is it just targeting new markets or new, I would say, providers of goods?
Oh, yeah, okay. We have to manage the growth, actually. Have a awareness brand it's one of our big challenge, and how to overcome. We are working a lot with a big partnership like Barnaby's Auction, Le Figaro. We have to have strategic presences like the YIA during the FIAC because we have to gain trust and a very good image, because it's a new market actually, and that's one of the challenge. We have to structure a company which is really big. We are growing extremely fast, and we have to organizing team work together from different countries. Because we have lots of experts for the trust of the buyer, actually, and for the sellers also. Well, we have to manage the growth in legal consequences also, because legal are changing constantly. We are in lots of countries where it's always different, it's changing a lot. But I think it's something to be an internet platform, because you're moving really fast and you have lots of partners that are able to help you dealing with those kind of topics.
And I will pick up on one word that you use, trust. So, and I think that's a very, very key, and Magda, you already mentioned it. So we talk a lot about trust, regulation in the art markets, and of course, online marketplaces, you have a responsibility to play. How do you address this trust issue? So you are, of course, working with certain numbers of experts, but do they have conflict of interest? How do you perform due diligence on your partners? So all those questions, how do you deal with the trust, and how do you think you can improve trust in the market?
Yeah, so it starts with Invaluable, with who we partner with. So we're aligning our marketplace with reputable, good, well-known auction houses who, through their process and through their specialists, are surfacing auction items that are validated, or they're authenticated to a certain extent. And that trust, we're seeing how can we add additional value to that. So we talk about blockchain and crypto, and it's something that Invaluable is in a position today. We were taking the stance that we're going to wait and see kind of how that shakes out. But one of the things that we've leaned into is to build further confidence in our marketplaces. We've announced a partnership with Artman, which, if you're not familiar with Artman, they are a company that provides 5D scanning, and the technology is pretty amazing. And one of the things that we see is making this more available to bidders and buyers in our marketplace, where when they have that ability to see that the brush strokes, and authenticating through brush strokes, and authenticating through biometric DNA of a work of art by an artist, we feel that that's going to add another layer of trust and security at that high end of the market. So trust starts with our partners, but it's also of what tools are we putting in place to give confidence to our bidders of they're buying things that they know and see that are as described by the auction house.
Magda, Elsa, do you want? Magda, from your perspective, what would you ask them to do to increase trust?
It comes down to what we are supposed to do in any business first. Due diligences when you work with either the people who buy, and you were saying sometimes the process is, oh my God, so bad, but it's necessary. Also with the sellers. And it's very hard, because if someone wants to break this trust, I mean, you're not on their back every day. It's not like if you have your own store and you have the sellers and you kind of check them every morning. They can totally be green lighted on the beginning and then sell whatever they want. And that's I don't know how you can find a solution to this, but it is, and the art market is, let's be straightforward, the art market is a loophole for certain dishonest practices. We know it. There are some risks. So it's probably a challenge how legally you can even cover this. I think another challenge is, it would be in the T's, the trust, the tech. How we're going to solve the fact, more for us galleries who are the users backstage, the fact that we have to fill in all the forms and the things to just put the artworks online. And Artsy has one, Artspare has another. I could hire 5 people at the gallery just to put them on all the platforms. And so there's something in the APIs that should be like, what would be how we can just throw our data, because when it's sold on one, we have to cancel it from all others, like from our databases, how it would just be on the platforms. So the tech thing is really important on simple things like this, but then also in the experience the user would have. Like, because today we're just relying on JPEGs, sometimes a video. Ooh, how technology. Ooh, so good. I'm sure there are plenty of things that exist that are really amazing. And the third thing, and I know a lot of people are on the different platforms are working on is teamwork. How the platform is going to work with their buyers and the sellers to make something that works together. Not like you're just a channel. And just like, for me to sell my unsold things. Like, a lot of people use it for this, let's be honest. No, it's how am I going to put my most exclusive content on the platform and make it a big thing? And it's best for everyone, the artist first, the platform, us, because we sell in the end. So how we're going to value. That's what the art fairs have learned how to do. I mean, Art Basel, Fiaco, Paris Photo, people want their VIP pass. They just, oh my God, that's where it happens. It should be on the platform. And this can only be achieved if we all, schmooze it together. It's like do something out of it.
So similar than the blockchain conclusion, we have to teamwork. So, Elsa, you wanted also to say something about that?
Well, for Trust platform, we are working a lot on that. For Catawiki, we are working really a lot on that. We have guidelines. We have curated auction, of course. We blacklist sellers or buyers when there's a problem. You have a seller rating for sellers, which is a lot because it's like for Airbnb, you don't go visit every apartment or everything, but the seller rating is something really huge. So we are working a lot on the trust, and we are gaining it. For the tech, we are working a lot on that because it's API. Lots of gallerists or professionals are trying to have something really easy and smoother to work with high volume. So we are working on this constantly, but I think we are working fast. It's growing really fast. And the third point, which was, I don't remember. Teamwork, work together. Well, we are working a lot with the buyers, and because they are asking questions during the auction. We are the one who answered question. So we monitorize this auction, and with the seller, we are working a lot with them. We are asking what they want in the content. We can explain. We can help them to have an estimate for an artwork that haven't never been on the market once. So we are testing with them, and we can build a special auction for them. During the fair, when we are attending the fair, we are trying to have a special auction for the YIA. We had one, and it was a huge success, actually. So we are trying to make things easier, and we are really agree it's a teamwork, and it's working now already.
So I still have a few questions, so I will be very brief with at least the two next one. Competition. So do we have too many marketplaces? That's one thing, that are dealing with art and collectibles. And secondly, are we going to see the GAFA companies moving into the game? So we want to start with this.
I think competition is always a good thing for us, especially when we are in new market, because it helps us to improve every day the navigation, the user experience, how to work with each other as well, as Magda says.
It's teamwork, consolidation. Are you going to buy your neighbor, or just a friendly competition?
At that time, it's a friendly competition, and we are exploring everything. I would say that regarding Amazon or eBay, they are already on the market. Amazon Art was launched in 2013 or 2013, and it's already there. So, but they are not doing the same job as us.
So far.
I think it's a question of experience and what we put online and what we upload as artworks. On Amazon Art, we have everything. I have artworks on Amazon. If I draw something, I put a price and I can put it on Amazon with my personal account if I want. On Art Fair, you can't because you have to work with the galleries who participate in Art Fair. So moderation is not the same at all between eBay, Amazon, and Le Bon Coin.
eBay, at the beginning of all this, eBay was the platform actually before you all guys came in, before Amazon. But then it became a big thing where you had mostly fake prints, color copies and Xeroxes of the prints. So definitely like the moderation, as you called it, you do is very important, yeah.
Want to add something on competition? Are you going to buy Barnaby's?
Yeah, I would say from the competition standpoint, for us, I agree, competition's great. It keeps, especially as a marketplace/technology company, it keeps us always innovating and putting new product out there to the market. And the benefactor is our partner, the auction houses. The more competition, the more marketplaces there are out there, the more bidders and buyers that are going to be coming through an online channel to participate in their auction. So I mean, I think competition's great. I worked previously from Invaluable. I worked for live auctioneers for 10 years. So, you know, I see this interplay of our marketplaces, and I think it adds value. The other thing I would add from that competition standpoint, and also to your point, we were talking about open APIs. I think the competition starts to change a little bit once we start to lean into technology more. So how is Invaluable pushing out open APIs to auction software providers? So the flow of the frictionless process of catalogs coming online becomes much easier. Invaluable has a product called RFC, which is a back office auction software technology, but yet we're opening up APIs for global auction software providers because we see that at the end of the day, the benefactor is going to be our core partner, which is the supply side of our marketplace, which is the growth engine of our business, but, you know, auction houses. So I think we always have to embrace the new players that are coming into the market, and you know, is consolidation part of that future? I think so to some degree, but it has to make sense from a, you know, how is that downstream impacting our core of our business, which is auction houses, and helping them be better.
So my last question before we open the floor to questions. So of course we talk a lot about blockchain, we talk about online business and everything, but there's also another technology that is extremely interesting, is artificial intelligence. And of course, so on all those kind of marketplaces, you have thousands of art objects. So the question is, you say so at the intro, so people stop on the first page on Google. So how do you surf? How do you go through? How can you experience so the catalog of art objects that are on those platforms? And can we imagine that artificial intelligence will become a kind of an art advisor? So in the financial sectors, where we have AI that is becoming robot advisors, can we see something similar in the marketplaces? Scott,
I'm going to just ask you to be very brief in your answers, so we can give the floor to the room afterward. Thank you.
I think the future's there. I think there was the company Lobis, I think, if I'm pronouncing it correctly. There was the two women from Christie's who saw a gap in the market and said, AI is the future for you know, placing works of art and for authentication, and it's a fascinating business. And actually, if you come to our summit, they're speaking at our summit in February. But we use artificial intelligence and Invaluable on a daily basis, so we use it to solve problems. And a big problem is we get hundreds of thousands of items a month.
So let's be short, like everyone can say a word, because maybe this is going to replace your job.
Artificial intelligence, category codes, learning to put category codes on items. Also, a company called Sif Science, which everybody should take a look at. It's a fascinating company which helps with fraud protection through machine learning. And all of our users in our marketplace go through there to help, you know, surface those potential fraudulent bidders. So I think it's the future of the business, absolutely.
Very shortly, yes, of course, but as in any other industry, AI will be important. Though we're still a little early, we still have a lot of things to sort, to build, let's say, before talking AI, I think. First, we have to know where we go and how everything's going to be built. It's in the making, I think.
Elsa?
I think the same, and I think it's really hard to imagine that you can replace human expertise, actually.
Oh, but we will.
Maybe we will, but maybe I will regret what I said just right now.
Yes, as well, but I think it can give help to the customers to find the perfect artworks or to find what he likes. Thanks to AI, when you go on Artspur or Catawiki and you have thousands of artworks, it can help to guide you in the right category or the right direction, and then you have to have a human contact to make the decision.
Questions to the floor, very quickly.
We're going to take just one, I'm sorry.
Thank you for the panel. It was extremely interesting. I wanted to ask each of the panelists, what's your opinion on digital art and how long you think it will take to pick up, especially in galleries? Thank you.
Thank you for asking. I've been on the board of a multimedia art center since 2001 officially, but even before, as we launched Le Cube in Issy-les-Moulineaux back then. And also back then I thought it would be tomorrow. It's picking up slowly, but I think like everything, at some point we are going to stop to put it in a different side of the market, like it's something else. I also have this problem with street art, where people say there's contemporary art and street art. There, somewhere hidden. Like, hello. So I think at some point, and when we see younger generations, how they use the media, digital media, you can see actually they don't care. It's art, and the machinery behind, whether it's not machinery, like paint, pencil or something digital, interactive, doesn't really changes anything. So I think it's linked. It's a natural process that is picking up with new artists who do things. And then in terms of market, it's the same, actually. We have a lot of collectors already collecting video art, whereas, let's say 15 years ago, people were like, who is buying this? We have some. So interactive art is picking up also. It's more a question of appropriation, time. But I think we're on a good way, I hope.
So we stop there, so sorry for that, but we are running out of time, otherwise no lunch. But I would like to thank Magda, Elsa, Scott, François-Xavier. Thank you very much for your contribution. Thank you Le Quotidien, and see you next year.